Thank you. Until the day that I wanted to play football.
Ah,
And I came home and said, okay, Dad, I want to try out for football. And he's like, well, let's have a conversation. And I was like, but you said, right?
Yeah.
You said, and so maybe psychologically that too plays. I don't know because, but so I think it allows me to keep myself small, but yet also I'm always very much, are you behaving correctly? Are you behaving correctly? Like, are you doing the things that you should do? Which is kind of crazy, but Naomi said she had a thought. What's your thought, Naomi? Oh, are we recording? Yeah. She said the same thing. So anyway, all right. So I'm ready. Bring it on, people.
ready, let me have it. Okay, so I want you to let me be your dad. Okay? And I want you to tell me, this isn't fantasy. We know he's not alive, though his, spirit is still with you. I want you to tell me what you want now as a grown-up Chris versus a small Chris who had to learn that and learned it and did it well. But what does a grown-up Chris, in terms of your business, want now?
In terms of my business.
Yeah.
Okay, Daddy-o, here's what I want. I want to be driving my Equinox and making $6,000 a month in income. Don't ask me why that number, it just came to my brain.
Okay.
But
Okay.
that's like where I want to be. And I don't understand why I'm not there, but I think it has a lot to do with how you told us that we had to act. Like it's not available to me like it should be to other people. Oh, Amanda's coming in now.
Okay.
But Dad, that's what I want. I want my Equinox, want to make $6,000 a month in my pocket, cold hard cash.
Good. Well, I always told you that as a woman, you could be and do anything you wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And being heard and being seen and not heard was a message for a child. Was not a message for a woman.
Mm.
And it's not a message for a woman who's a leader, who's a natural leader, which you are.
Mm.
Tell me how you feel. Let's have a dialogue here.
That's interesting. How do I feel? Let's see. It feels a little odd, unnatural, which is weird. I don't know why that comes to my brain, but
be a leader feels odd and unnatural.
Well, to be out, I know I'm a leader. I know that.
Okay.
Honestly, it hasn't mattered where I've been in my career, in my life. I've always ended up being a leader, even at times when I really didn't want to be. But I think I'm okay at that middle level. But it's that next level of
you're safe.
Like a top consultant. Yeah, okay, cool. I'm all over that, as opposed to a top director. It's that. Okay. That's what feels unnatural.
Okay. Well, I understand that because that hasn't been where you've been. However, you have moved up steadily in the ranks of every place that you've ever been. And it's now your time to move up steadily in the ranks of being a leader in Mary Kay. How do you feel? Have the dialogue with me.
I'm not sure it's for me. I guess I'm just not past that. Daddy-O said so. Joy, I like it. Daddy-O said so.
It's not because why? Fill in the why? Or because? It's not for me because I don't want it, don't deserve it, don't want to be out there like that.
I think in some ways I don't want to be out there like that. I don't want the ups and downs and the disappointments. I just want it to be like, even though I know you grow during those times.
Well, here's the truth. It's never just like that. It's always up and down.
Here's another thing that's coming to my brain.
Huh?
Here's another thing that's coming to my brain that you can help me break, because I know it's not accurate. I don't want to work like that.
Okay. Fair enough.
So in my brain, and part of this comes from, and Maria has worked with me so much on this since I've been in Mary Kay, because when I was in healthcare, I worked 70 hours a week, literally, all the time. And so one of the things I struggle with is that unrealistic idea of what the work has to look like to get there. And so in my mind, I'm like, I don't want to work like that. Even though logically, I know in Mary Kay, you don't have to, but yet there is a certain, I don't know. So it's breaking through that mindset, I guess.
Exactly. Either I'm happy and I'm level, or I start to be a leader and I get overwhelmed. I get too much work. I don't like it. I'm seeing more.
And one of the things that seems to happen to me, and this is where I'm not sure like how I can break through this, is I go to extremes. So like when I think that's where I want to go, like I want to drive a Cadillac. Okay, then I have to go to every event. I have to work all these hours. I have to be at every single thing. I have to be engaged in it all. I have to, even though we have those choices in Mary Kay, that's where my brain goes. And what happens to me is I shut myself down before I go there, because then my life gets so wonky out of balance.
Yeah. Okay, well, I mean, all right. Let's hear from your friends here, but I'll chime in a minute. What do you guys hear? Yeah. Dude, come on.
Me. Hey, it's me. Well, we have a lot, Chris and I have a lot in common, military brat here as well. And if I heard this, 1,000 times, children are to be seen and not heard. And I think, seriously, they were taught to say that to their families, especially if they were in leadership. So we did hear, like I would have the what to about going into the officers club, like how we were supposed to act and what to do, et cetera. And to know your place and all. And although I have a different makeup and I don't have that same feeling of like wanting to be in a lower place, but I find myself kind of doing some of the same things that Chris does. And I constantly am telling myself, and Chris, you too, maybe, but like when I look in the back of your office, I see office assistant stuff.
My office?
Look at your office behind. I see a copy machine and I see, like stuff that says I'm the assistant. And so I myself, wondering if you're the same way, I'm constantly telling myself, and Amanda has been so helpful in helping me with this, but I'm not an assistant. I need one. And I've really, been working with trying to figure out what to hand off. But how you see yourself maybe is most important right here. Do you see yourself as the leader, or do you see yourself as the assistant for Chris, the leader? You know what I mean?
Mm.
And that struggle between, I'm not a salesperson. And the stuff behind me constantly reminds me, I'm a leader. I need to be shifting that thought. And so I wonder if maybe Daddy-O is telling you, Chris, you're not an assistant.
Hmm.
You're the leader. We're not even supposed to be like a salesperson, really. We're supposed to be transferring that information to our consultants so that we can be a better leader to them. Not that we can't sell our products, you know what I mean? But
Mhm.
that's not our bread and butter. It shouldn't be. Our bread and butter should be lifting up others and moving them up and out. I'm talking to myself here.
Yeah. No, that's exactly right. That's exactly right.
I think I'm gonna have to have a shift over here, guys.
The fascinating thing when you're saying that, Chris, to me, is that you have such a strong persona. Okay, when somebody sees you, you have this beautiful blonde hair with pink, and you're always done perfectly. I mean, you're making a statement, baby. You're putting it out there. And so you are certainly seen. And my experience of you is you can also be heard. So I think you got a lot of either or going on here. I'm either seen or heard. Can't put them together. I'm either in the background, or if I'm a leader, I'm exhausted. It kills me, so I can't be a leader, but I don't want to be in the background anymore. So there's some, you've got some ambivalence going on.
Hmm.
And what happens when you're ambivalent? I mean, I know way back when when we did that 4-week session, I know a lot of you got the charts that I have with okay. So what happens is when you're ambivalent, it means you lack motivation.
Mhm.
And that's where you're stuck, correct?
Yeah.
You're not
Yes.
motivated to go to the next level, to make a running leap at it.
100%.
Yeah, okay. So the issue then becomes, what will get you motivated? If indeed you want it, if indeed you want to be different, if you tell me, Pat, get off my back, I don't want to be different. I'm fine where I am. I won't ever bring it up again. But if you're not fine with it, if you want more, if it's kind of gnawing at you a little bit, then let's resolve the ambivalence and go to the side that says, I'm going for it.
Mhm.
Now, I don't know from you. I'm not sure.
You
I
don't
mean,
know, you don't
Huh?
know where I'm at?
No, I know where you're at. I don't know what you want. I don't know if you really want to be a leader.
Oh, I do. I do. I believe that I'm called to be a leader.
Okay.
Now, I'll be honest, and I'm sure all of us probably agree with this. I don't know, maybe not. There's parts of being a leader that sometimes I don't love. But
Yeah.
that's true with, I think, anything that we're called to. It's not always easy, right? And I'm not saying hard as far as hard work. I'm just saying, you might have to have, well, like Mackenzie had a challenging conversation that ended up being amazing and awesome the other day. But but I think that those challenging moments are also opportunities for us as leaders and the person that you're in front of to grow.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
so I love that. I love that part of it. I love to lead and see people grow. I think part of what I don't love about being a director is I don't love the minutia of the production requirement and stuff like that. And I think that's because it feels salesy to me. I've just kind of gotten into that connection with that feeling. But I understand why it's there. So it's changing the mindset of what that's about. But
Okay.
I definitely do want to be a leader and believe I am called to be a leader.
Okay, good, good, good. Okay, then I have your permission to work with you to push you through this.
Absolutely. Please help me. Because honestly, Pat, I think I have, well, I don't think, I've pretty much been in this place and part of it might even relate back to my days in healthcare, because there were experiences there where I was pretty much told of, no, you're not ever going to go beyond middle management where you are. But yet then I was expected to produce all this time and effort.
Right,
So I really truly believe, probably since I've been in Mary Kay, I've never been able to break through that. And I really believe that that's my thing. That's my wall to get over. It's like those obstacle courses, right?
right.
You gotta get
Right.
over the wall. People
Okay.
are pushing your butt up to get you there.
Okay, so let me represent now that whoever was your boss in healthcare, they
Mhm.
basically said you can't go up, but you're gonna have to work yourself till you die.
And then we're gonna lay you off.
Okay, so just, I want you to forcefully tell me what you think about that.
It sucks. I've
Good.
given my blood and tears to this place, and after 20 years, you're actually going to tell me that you're letting me go and you're promoting somebody else into that position who's been here 2 years because you don't
Yeah.
think that's where I belong. Well, hasta la vista, baby. I'm leaving then anyway.
Yeah, 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 yeah. All right, so I want you to tell me with, shake your fist, you're fired. I want you to fire me. Fire that person who did that to you.
Okay, you're fired, Liz. You're fired.
Keep going, 3 times.
You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. You're fired.
Good. Take a deep breath.
Okay.
How's that
God,
feel?
that feels good.
Yeah. Yeah, you've needed to do that for a long time.
Mhm.
So, okay. That was Liz. That was then. You are now going to be your own leader. That's what a director is. You are your own boss.
Mhm.
Tell me how, I'm not Liz anymore, just me. Tell me how you're going to treat Chris as her boss.
How am I going to treat Chris? Like, how am I going to treat myself? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's exactly.
I am going to encourage myself, embrace my gifts, not let anybody else tell me that I'm not supposed to. That just came out. What else? I am going to, I'm trying to think of the word that I want to say. I'm going to love myself.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah. And that includes not working myself to death.
Right. Yeah.
And that includes being smart, working smart, not harder. Working smarter, not harder.
Yeah, it's like you said a couple weeks ago, you said, do less better. That has been like in my brain a lot. And I believe one of the challenges is that's a challenge for me. And I'm not sure I know how to do that. So I have to learn it.
Okay. Well, that's easily learned. I mean, that's an organizational issue,
Right.
about how you organize things. The problem people have being Mary Kay directors is twofold, as I see it. Number one, dealing with people. Biggest problem, dealing with your consultants. Number two, dealing with yourself. Maybe that's first. Dealing with yourself while dealing with the consultants. So how do I modify my behavior so that I get the absolute best out of my own energy? And how do I use that good energy to impact the people I'm leading? That's the true question the products sell themselves, the opportunity is clear. You know, you guys at your level don't have any problem with products and opportunity.
Can you say that again, Pat? How do I modify my work?
Yeah, to support myself, to support, we all have X amount of energy. Some people have more, some people have less. Okay. But that X has got to be used to support yourself and have something to help motivate your people. Right?
Right.
Because, you know, it's like I was talking to this woman yesterday, kind of crazy woman. Anyway, she was telling me that, you know, she wants to become a national on her own because she doesn't trust any of her people. I said, well, you got a major problem. You
Yeah.
got a yeah. I said, the problem is you can't get there on your own, you know? And she said, well, if I trust people, they're going to let me down. I said, that's absolutely true. Absolutely. And then what that means is you're going to have to learn to live and work through the disappointment and not be crushed by it and say, I'm disappointed, so I stop playing. You know, somebody hurts me, I take my balls and go home. You got to be able to process the grief and get through. And, you know, she wanted, okay, so tell me how to do that and fix me right now. I went, oh my God. I said, I can't do it. I said, you got to learn process. You know, you got to slow down here for a minute. She won't be back. I guarantee it. But she didn't want to hear the truth she had to do. She just wanted to be fixed. She wanted to pay to fix her. Okay.
And I know you know this about me. I mean, I'm excited to break through that. I mean, because I know I'm supposed to be on the other side. It's probably the biggest, and one of the things I've been saying a lot lately, and I've actually said to my husband, if you hear me say this, say, because I keep saying that I don't have a lot of energy. Like, I don't have the energy for that. I don't have the energy for that. And so I said, if you hear me say that, you just need to say, wait a minute, time out. You just said it again, or even just point it out to me, because I think it's become so much in my brain the last few months, because I did have a period where it was that way for a couple of months, just because of everything that was going on, that now I don't want to get stuck there. It's easy to live in that spot, but you don't get past and through the healing if you don't catch yourself and say, I'm not going to say that anymore. So then now I have all the energy that God needs me to have to do what I'm supposed to do today. That's what I choose.
Well, that's exactly right. And that's the I choose statement. Yeah, that's the I choose statement. I choose to be seen and heard. I choose to be a leader who takes care of herself and her consultants. I choose to give my energy in appropriate ways and also care for myself. Whatever, you know, I'm just spurting it off. Any, you guys have some? I've been talking too much. Come on, chime in here.
I have something. This is Naomi.
Hey, Naomi.
Hello.
Hello.
Chris, this has been, I think, helpful for all of us. So thanks for bringing it up.
Oh, you're welcome.
We don't necessarily have to talk about this now, but I wonder if a good question to ponder would be, what would you tell a consultant in your unit who was like, I don't want to be a red jacket because that's just so much more work and so much more energy. And, you know, not only would I be selling, I'd have a team, and then I'd have to keep track of the team, and then I'd have to, you know, encourage them to go to the meeting and blah, 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 blah. Kind of like how you were thinking that, you know, it's just so much effort to be a leader. It's not worth it. And if it, you know, if you take something you've already accomplished, like, you know, we've all gone past red jacket, what would you say to that person? And that might be a good thing to say to yourself.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, what you're talking about is someone who's feeling overwhelmed and someone who's piling up future fantasies on a present reality. They're not in the present. This is going to happen and this is going to happen and I'm not going to be able to handle this and oh my gosh, and then I'm going to have 100 people and then I'm going to have 1,000 people and my God, I can't handle it. Ooh, ooh, ooh. And so there's a catastrophizing that's going on about the future. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Bring it back to the here and now. What do you want to do now? What is the next step? I hear you feel overwhelmed. I get that. The truth is that as you live through these steps, they become natural. They become just part of the process, you know? When you look at them and you're not living in them, you could be overwhelmed by it. I understand. I felt that too. And you're bigger than that. You're more powerful than that. You take it at your pace. If it's too much, you know, but don't decide it's too much before you get in the water. Don't decide you can't swim.
Yeah.
And I'm here. I'll hold you up. You're not going to drown. It's essentially the same thing. I had what was that? Hold on. I want to read you guys this. It's just so great. Can you hold on for 1 second? I'll find it in my purse. I'm not one that spends a lot of time with quotes, but I just love this one. Fear is simply energy that is starving for love.
Oh,
Love that one. Fear is simply energy that's starving for love. So, Chris, let's apply it to you. You're starving for love to be able to unite the being seen and the being heard. Okay? Starving for love and feeling like you can be a leader and not be overwhelmed. Okay? And what you're giving yourself and what you've been giving yourself, not intentionally, is fear. What Naomi's person is giving herself is fear. She's scaring herself about what might happen. She's predicting a negative outcome, and that'll stop anybody, you know?
mhm.
So here's what you got going that somebody else doesn't, Chris. You got all these people loving you
Yeah.
to help you convert that hesitation, that fear into a unification. You can have both,
Mhm.
both being seen and being heard. That's one duality we're putting together. Both being a leader and having a life that you love and that you're not overworked.
Hmm.
You can have both. Both and. It
Okay.
seems to be the theme for this group, you know? Yeah. Okay, anybody chime in here? I know you're putting things in the chat, but I can't read the chat. So go ahead, chime in, say it.
I'm going to jump in just because I finally got in. Hello, everybody.
Hey, Amanda, yay.
I'm afraid to turn on my camera because I'm afraid it's going to, okay. I'm afraid it's so much bandwidth, it'll kick me off. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, you look very comfortable outside.
I'm sitting in the edge of my property because it's the only place I can get cell service. My house has some kind of a field around it where there's no cell service. So when my internet goes down, I can't even do it through my cell phone because I have no service. So I had to get to the edge of my property just to get cell service.
Well, it looks gorgeous. Beautiful.
It's the kids' play set. I feel like I missed something huge because I know you guys are talking about where we left off last time with the, both and I'm not sure if this was addressed with Chris because I feel like my same issue. I think for me, growing up in such, like, if I can try to make sense of what goes on in my head, growing up in such chaos, in having parents that just maybe were not great with finances, and we constantly moved around because my parents always stayed one step ahead of getting in trouble. And you know, one minute we would have everything, the next minute we would lose everything. So now that I'm at a place right now where I have like everything I've ever wanted, I want to be a national because I want what it means to my family to have more. I want to be a national because I want to lead other people, but I feel this weird guilt about wanting more when I literally feel like I have everything I need right now.
It's very common. And every time you hit kind of a deserve level limit, you know, before pushing on to a bigger embrace of something, there could be that kind of a thought. So what are you guilty for?
I guess because I don't want for anything, if that makes any sense. I don't know how to explain it, but like, I look
Yeah.
at my life and I think I never thought I could have what I have. So to want more makes me feel like, aren't you grateful enough, Amanda? Don't you have enough? Like, why do you want more? You have more than you ever imagined.
That whose voice is that, Amanda? Aren't you grateful enough? You know, you shouldn't want more. You should just be happy where you are.
I honestly, that's where I don't know, Pat. I don't know where that voice comes from, because maybe my mother, because my father he's never satisfied. My dad is like, okay, what's next? Okay, what's next? And I mean, that I have a lot of that in me too, in the sense that every time I achieve, and Joy knows this, every time I would achieve something, I wouldn't celebrate because I'm like, yeah, but it's not the next thing. So like, I have both balance in me, but I think where I'm at with the feeling like I have everything I want is, I always pictured everything I want would come from a successful career, would come from not money per se, but being successful in my job, because that's what my dad always strived to be, right? But what has brought me more joy than anything is having the miracles around me, my children that I never thought I would have.
Yeah.
And I know they deserve more. And that's where I go back into like, well, they deserve it. It's not for you, it's for them.
That's okay.
But I still feel guilty.
Well, okay. You've heard me say this: appropriate guilt and inappropriate guilt. Okay. Appropriate guilt's when you hurt somebody unintentionally, step on the foot, you break their arm, something happens, and you apologize and you feel bad, and you're, over and over, Okay. Inappropriate guilt is when you take responsibility for things that you're not responsible for. Like, I feel guilty that my, brother ran his car into the ground or something, or tree. Well, you weren't responsible for that, So you're not responsible for wanting more. It's not a bad thing. You haven't hurt anyone by wanting more. That is, Mary Kay is based on wanting more. The whole system, right? We lost her again. Oh, there you are.
I'm here. I'm processing. So this does kind of make sense to me, because I had my family here for the first time in 3 years. Not that I feel like we're any better shape than my family, but how we've positioned ourselves in this move to New York, having more home for less money. They've chosen to live in Northern California, where you have a closet for the same amount. And we've set up a different lifestyle out here. And I don't know if that's the guilt I feel, is that I have it easier, and maybe I don't feel like I deserve it. Because my mom still fights. My mom still fights paycheck to me, still fights to make ends meet. And maybe maybe that's where some of my guilt comes from, is like, I feel like I've arrived, and I really haven't, in the sense that there's so much more that I can tap into. There's so much more available, and I see it right in front of me. But I almost have like a little bit of, like, when my family was here, like, I didn't want to show them the house because I didn't want to make them feel uncomfortable.
Right, right.
You know?
Bingo, bingo. You got it. You got it. So the dialogue then becomes that let me be your mom for a minute. She's the one that you're most relating to with this. And I want you to tell me, Mom, I want more. You know, I want more for me. I want more for my kids. I want more. I want to be more successful. I want to make more money. Just tell me that.
Okay. So, Mom, I do want more. I want more for my family. I want more. It's so hard for me. This is the hard part, Pat, is like, I don't think I have a hard time telling her that. So I want more for my family. I want more, but in the back, you want to know truthfully what comes up? I want more than what you and Dad gave us. And then I feel guilty for saying that, because my mom gave a lot considering her circumstances. My parents' circumstances are that my dad was abusive, controlling, manipulative, gaslighting. My dad was not great. So my mom gave us everything she could, but I almost feel like she made us feel guilty that she gave us everything she could. Does that
Maybe
make
she did.
sense?
Yeah. Yeah, it does, of course. Well, let me be the healthier side of your mother. Okay. If she could say this, which she probably can't, but let me model that for you for a second. Amanda, I am so proud of you. I see how hard you work. I see what you've created, and I know you can create more. And I want that for you and your children and your family. I did my best, but I hit my limit. But you have no limits. You can have more. Take that in. How does that feel?
Like words I wish I could have, I guess words I wish I could hear her say. I mean, it's like I'm fighting back tears. So
Good.
yeah.
You can hear her say it, okay? Because you're not really dealing with your real mother. You don't have to have her say it. You're dealing with the mother in your head, okay? She's not there telling you, you got to feel guilty, Amanda. You got to feel guilty if you make more money. You got to feel guilty if you have a nicer house. You got to feel guilty. You're saying that to you. You with me about this? It's your mother's voice, but it's your internalization of her voice. How's this? Talk to me. I can't see what you're thinking.
So just because I'm really processing it. I think that the thing is, all my life I've thought it's my dad that I deal with the issues, and I don't think it's just been until recently that I'm realizing it's maybe not my dad. Like,
it's
maybe
both. It's both.
I've always thought it was him though, like, because I grew up in an abusive home, so it was easy to point the finger at Dad because he was the abuser.
Right, exactly. And you're right to be angry and upset about that. However, your mother did agree to stay.
I think that's what it all comes down to. That's why I'm in Mary Kay. Actually, what you just said right now is my why. So when it all comes down to it and people say, why did you sign up for Mary Kay? Why? Because my mom stayed in a marriage that she shouldn't have. I remember sixth grade. I remember I was 11 years old, and what I wanted for Christmas was for my parents to get a divorce. That's what I wanted.
Yep, I got
That's
it.
what I asked for at 11 years old. Like my daughter's, only 3 years away from that. And
Right.
I think about how that something so strong sat on my shoulders as a kid.
Yeah,
So what brings me back to Mary Kay every time is when a woman sits in front of me and says, well, I don't know, I have no choice. And I'm like, whoa, yes, you do. And that's the thing that like ignites me every time is I don't ever want my daughters, I have one, my daughter or my kids, period, to feel like mom did what she had to do because she was stuck in a situation. Like we're never stuck. And I think that's what it all comes down to is I feel
Right.
like my dad was the epitome of showing us that you're not stuck, even though he didn't do it the right way. My mom like became the victim.
yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like she created us. She created victims in putting us in that situation.
Yeah. And she didn't see a way out. And it was a different time. I get it. It's not a blame deal. It's
No.
just the reality of what was.
Right.
It's the reality of us. I remember when I was younger asking my mom, why don't you divorce my dad? And she said, because I can't afford your college. Yeah. So that was just the way it was, and she probably fought tooth and nail for you and loved you to death in her way.
And still does. And I think that's the thing is like, I think maybe that's where the guilt comes from is just knowing that I have done all this. Oh, maybe this is, no, not maybe, this is it. I figured it out. My either or versus both and is I'm afraid that to have it all means sacrificing something for my children or of my children. I think that's what it all comes down to. I do not ever want to sacrifice something they deserve for something I want. Because I feel like my childhood was sacrificed.
Okay, well, these are layers of the onion. Okay, so we've gotten to this layer, and congratulations, Amanda. But what we need to do, both you and Chris, the next step is what you uncover what you want and how you want to unify. Okay, you want to unify your children, not taking care of them and being successful, right, Amanda? Having both, right? So
yeah,
the I choose statement, the reworking of the brain that we're working with here, is to put in an I choose statement that unifies that. Either or is divisive, right? It's dividing this or that. Unification is both and. I have my children and I have my very successful career. Okay, I have my voice, Chris, and I'm a leader that takes care of herself. Okay, both and unification versus division. Okay. Okay, it's a lot of stuff, you guys. A lot of stuff. Proud of you.
You know what?
Yeah.
I just love you guys so much. I'm just like, it's just, it's hard to hold back the tears.
Well, you can cry,
for you guys, for this. So.
Well, the tears too have got to be tears in some sense of joy, because these are breakthroughs. These are not sad moments. These are moments you will look back and say, oh my gosh, I pivoted then. I made a decision then. I saw something I had never seen. And by seeing it, I mastered it. I moved through it.
I also feel like more clarity on what's driving us. Like, I feel like,
Yeah,
Chris, would you have more clarity on helping that mission of like, ladies, let's be seen, let's show up as a team and do this. And Chris, I mean, you have influence. Our whole national area training was completely changed by the Dabo Sweeney thing that you shared. And Amanda, I'm going to share this Ed Milet interview with you, because not chasing after your dream is a disservice to the kids.
yeah,
I know that we juggle and fight with that sacrifice and these choices, because it is this dichotomy of having this ambitious heart and, you know, like being there for your kids. But I had heard that quote, and I don't think you were on, but it was just about, it's doing a disservice to not run and chase. And if you're called to be a national, you doing that journey is setting your kids free to chase their dream on their heart.
yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's hear from everybody else. Thank you, Maria, Joy. Beth, how's this been for you today?
Hi.
Hi.
I can 110% relate to both Amanda and Chris. So honestly, I've gained so much from this session. It's incredible. I know that I held myself back, Amanda, for you focused on my kids, and I felt guilty. I felt guilty for wanting more and being ambitious for myself because of my lack in my childhood due to my mom's lack of mothering instinct, that I poured it all in for my kids. Well, now my kids are grown and they're powerful humans, every one of them. I have 3. And they make really great choices for themselves because that's the example that I was able to give them. However, I didn't show up to my dream. And that if I could offer you encouragement, and Chris, you as well, the showing up to those dreams and to that desire in your heart is your purpose. And I realize now that I showed up less to my purpose, even though, you know, being a mom is all that, but I could have had both and,
Yeah,
but I didn't really believe that. So there you go.
we don't till we talk it through. You know, we don't believe it. We believe the old messages. We believe we've been listening to for 20, 30 years. It's that old, yeah, that stuff. And so that's what we're fighting. We're fighting those old messages that are internalized in our brain. Honey, what are you doing over there? Oh, some weird noises are coming from my husband. So anyway, that's what we're fighting. And it is in the present, but the messages are very old. These are not new things, okay? And they're not coming, it's now you've internalized it. You don't need your parents to tell you this directly anymore. They may not even be around to tell you this, okay? So you're telling yourself, which first we got to understand that. 2, we got to have a strategy for changing it, okay? Okay. Anybody else? Mackenzie, feeling well enough to say something? Always like to hear from you.
I can talk for like a couple seconds. It's not good. But I feel like what everybody's talking about, like with their mothers and their, being the child, I always look at it from the flip side, because I grew up with a mom who was, very loving and poured into us and did everything for us, but she never said yes to herself. She never allowed herself to go after everything. And so as a kid, I'm one of 4 girls. And so for the female role to be like, you can be an amazing wife and mom, I've never had issues in that identity. But my struggle has always been when I wanted to be more than just a wife and a mom, because she was never able to say yes to that part of it. And so I just want to say that from the perspective of encouraging everybody, like it's worth it to go after the both and, because when we say either or, we just teach our kids either or, and you don't know how they're ever going to interpret that.
Correct, absolutely. Nicely said. Naomi? Comment? Yeah, there you go.
I have a headache, so I'm mostly listening.
Okay. Well, we might have created the headache. Did you have it when you got on?
I did.
All right. Well, no, I'm serious. I mean, you can get physical, feelings and stuff when you're dealing with this stuff. You're bringing stuff up. I mean, it is cathartic. So Chris, Amanda, just work on this I choose statement. Okay. Both and I will be back in 3 weeks. And yeah, sorry, but I want a honeymoon. I deserve a honeymoon. Yes.
Pat, you deserve a honeymoon.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I've waited 1.5 years for it. Yes. So, okay. Next week will be Curtis answering any questions you have with any kind of technical stuff. And he's brilliant. He really is. So, and Chris, of course, will be operating the ship. And then you guys keep meeting. I mean, keep meeting. Keep it going. Don't destroy it until I can come back, please.
Pat, you deserve a honeymoon that's not in an RV.
That's true. That wasn't a honeymoon. Yeah, that was we were running away from the heat. Yeah. This is being pampered and being on a ship and letting them do everything, and I love that. So, okay, I will see you. You guys are doing great work. I mean, truly great work. This is a really wonderfully open, transparent, and loving group. And it's a pleasure for me to be part of it. So I will see you in the end of September. Okay, bye-bye.